Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Cities Skylines, and welcome back to Vanillaville. Things are going pretty well at the moment. We currently have $3.5 million, which is more money than I know what to do with. I'm gonna be really honest with you. I don't like having $3.5 million because I'm probably never gonna spend it. And it means that we've already hit the point of the game where things are going to be much easier. So I'm going to try and spend a lot of that money. I'm going to try and burn through $3.5 million, but we'll get it back. It won't be that hard to get it back, because if we go and have a look at the moment, we're generating $21,000 per week. That is our income. If we go into the economy panel, we can actually see that in total it's $70,000-ish of weekly income, with $47,000 as expenses. And we can break that down further. We can look at industry and see that forestry is $3,200, farming is $4.8, and then the unique factories, $7.4 or $6 right now. Obviously, it fluctuates. Sometimes we make a profit with forestry, sometimes we don't, but sometimes the profits across everything that we have get to be so high as to total up to about $50,000 per week in terms of income. It's kind of wild. It's a lot of money. It is a lot of money. And if you keep an eye on the weekly income down here throughout this video, at some point you will probably see it go up to $40, $45, maybe even $50,000 in weekly income. So burning through $3.5 million is really just so I don't have to look at $3.5 million at the bottom of the screen. I'm also not 100% sure how I'm going to do it, because there's not really that much stuff in City Skylines that's going to burn through it and also serve a purpose beyond being aesthetically pleasing. So I'm not going to worry about that right now. And I'm also not going to worry too much about industry right now. I do want to come back to this though. I do want to talk about this a little bit later on in this video, because I did ask an important question about industry in the last video. But before we do that, let's talk about what I've changed, because I did make a slight change to Vanillaville between this episode and the last one, and that is to do with the buses. I basically went ahead and rebuilt all of the bus lines. We have a red line that goes from Elizabeth Gardens and Valley District all the way down this main avenue. It goes around the high school campus, it goes down into Amity Park, and then it goes back along the same path. And then around a bunch of the districts, we have clockwise and counterclockwise lines, in this case the pink lines, the purple lines, the blue lines, and the green lines, and those just get people around the various districts. And they're relatively popular. We can see in here, we've got the purple buses going, we've got the pink going there, we got yellow here, which is its own line that goes to the industrial area. I don't know if it's particularly popular, but it's actually, yeah, it is a little bit popular. And also particularly popular is a beautiful little bit of alliteration right there. That's particularly popular. It's fun. It's just fun to say. It's one of those. Anyway, yeah, so I redid the bus lines and things are going pretty well. If we look at the stats of each line, over 400 people on bus line 1. So here's what I'm thinking. Because we have over 400 people here, and if we go and look at this specifically, we can see that there are situations where there's 600 plus people waiting at this stop with a full bus on the way. There's 500 people waiting at this stop with a full bus on the way. There's hundreds of people waiting around. Now, some of these stops are considerably less popular than others. If we go to here, this stop, for example, has 500 people. This stop has 300 people. This stop has 250 people. This stop down here has 581. This stop has 600. So what that says to me is that obviously certain parts of this are considerably more popular than others, as I just said. So what I think I need to do is replace some of the buses. Right now, we're using the articulated biofuel bus. The articulated biofuel bus has a capacity of 75 people, which is pretty good. Obviously, we do have the option of going and adding more vehicles to this line, but I don't think that's the solution. I think what we should probably just do is switch out for either the articulated bus, which has a capacity of 80, or the super bendy bus with a capacity of 100. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to swap out bus line 1 to have the super bendy bus, which does mean that all of these buses here, these guys here, are going to be going back to the depot, and that's going to take a little while. That is going to take a moment for all those buses to go back, and it's going to take a second for all of the new buses to come out of here and start getting into the city, so that line is going to be a little bit less efficient for the time being. I do also want to swap out buses on the other lines as well, but given that traffic in this area is already a bit of a nightmare, and given that one of the bus lines, the main bus line, is going to be super inefficient for the next little while, I'm going to hold off on doing that. I'm going to go one by one with the buses so that we can upgrade them and not completely screw up the public transport across the entire city. And I've also decided I'm going to swap out some of the roads in here just to make things a little better, because we have a bus stop right at the side of this road, but there's nowhere for the buses to actually pull into. So if I change this out, we now have a proper little bus stop right at the side of the road, which is fantastic. And what I'm also going to do is go ahead and use this 2-lane road with median the entire way around here. It is going to get rid of some buildings annoyingly, but the reason I want to do this is because when buses come out of this depot, they're going to have to go left and follow the path around rather than sort of crossing over and doing what they want to do. It's just going to be a little bit better for the flow of traffic. I'm also just going to do this and get rid of those buildings anyway, and so that gives us a little bit better flow is kind of what I'm looking for. So we'll see how that plays out. We do have a lot of buses in traffic. We do have them kind of waiting up here, which I don't necessarily adore. And I'm thinking, honestly, I'm slightly tempted to get rid of these stop signs. I don't think it's going to be the best idea. But with a lack of give way signs in Vanilla City Skylines, which would be so much better for a roundabout, I think getting rid of the stop signs is kind of the way to go. And honestly, looking at it, it's kind of working. Yes, it's chaotic. Yes, traffic is sort of stopping in the roundabout, which isn't ideal, but it does look like we're slowly seeing these guys filter through here, and that's kind of what I'm looking for. So we'll come back and take a look at this in a little bit as well, and see if the roundabout's doing okay. It looks like it's doing what I wanted it to do. So when we come back to look at industry a little bit later on, we'll look at the roundabout as well and see if getting rid of the stop signs was actually the right call. But what I'm thinking right now is that I want to grow the population quite a bit. We have a lot of industrial demand, and if we go around looking at our commercial zoning, we'll notice that there's no demand for goods. There's no shortage of goods in the city at the moment. None of the commercial guys are complaining about it. So what that tells me is that it's most likely a demand for office zoning rather than straight industrial zoning, and we can probably back that up with the idea, well, with the fact that 39% of the population is highly educated. 84% of the population has graduated school. So I think we need more offices. I think we need more educated workplaces. And so I'm going to use that to hopefully boost the population. Once we get those jobs available, more people are going to want to move in. And we have this big space here that I want to play with as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and basically cut out this highway. So this entire thing is going to be taken away, and I'm going to replace it with an avenue. I don't love doing this, but I'm not quite at the point where I want to tear the city apart. That is going to happen at some point. I'm going to have to run a highway basically right through the middle of this at some stage, because I do want to build over here, and we also have to connect trains at some point here as well, but I don't want to do that right now. That's not really something I'm too interested in doing. So what we'll do for the time being is we'll bring this guy through here. We'll go ahead and connect it to the highway right here. So we'll go ahead and get ourselves the highways just like so. And I want to see if we go to about there and we go to about there. That gives us a nice little connection, which is exactly what I'm looking for. We'll flip that one around. And then what I'm going to do is I want to grab the asymmetrical road here. I want the asymmetrical 7-lane road, because that didn't really do what I wanted it to do. I was hoping that having more lanes here would give this right lane the ability to sort of, well, not be a U-turn, but apparently that's not the case. So what we'll do is swap this guy back, and then maybe swapping you out for 4 lanes. Ooh. Oh, that did not do what I wanted it to do at all. Interesting. We also have asymmetrical 3-lane highways and asymmetrical 3-lane highways with sound barriers. There's 4-lane 2-way highway with sound barriers. There's some cool highways here. Wait, industry highway? Since when has that been a thing? Good Lord. There's stuff in City Skylines that I should know about and I just don't know about, and it does annoy me. It annoys me because I feel like I should know about these things. I just don't. Anyway, what we'll go ahead and do is bring this guy out to about there, bring this guy up to about there, bring this one back a little bit, and I don't know if I want to do a curve here or if I want to do maybe just an angle. I think a curve is going to be the way to go. At least for the time being. We can always change it later if I don't like it. So we'll go ahead and just do, I guess, something like that. And the reason I wanted to do that is because I want to be able to connect to this road and not have it connect to a highway, and this just sort of works. So that's good. And I guess the next step is going to be coming down here. So what we'll do is grab another 4-lane road with decorative trees, and I'm just going to punch it straight through up to, honestly, about there. And then what we can do is actually connect this guy out. Oh, this is going to be good. This is going to really nicely surround this space, and it's going to give me some angled buildings to throw off the grid a little bit, which is exactly what I want. So let's go to here and bring this straight down. It almost lines up perfectly. And then I'm going to try and do sort of the same thing. So I want to go to here, and I want to go, oh, that might be a little bit close. That might be a little bit close. Okay, we'll not do that. This road's also not going to be staying, but I want these 2 avenues punching through here, because my thinking is these guys are sort of going to, apparently they're not going to intersect. Okay, we'll bring that back. We can line this up just like so. And then this guy is going to go straight past those rocks and is going to intersect this road down here. And that'll be absolutely perfect. So it gives us a couple of ways for people to get around and do their thing. This road could probably be downgraded to have fewer lanes. And this is going to be a pretty busy road, I think, because it's not going to have an Old Town policy. So this is going to be a way for people to get off the highway and sort of come straight down to the high school. So we might want to upgrade it eventually, but for now, we'll just leave it be. And that just really nicely outlines this entire space, which is what I'm looking for. I'm also wondering, though, if I could maybe get away with bringing a road down here. And I absolutely can. So that outlines this space, which I want to be... I do want it to be a park. I've said before I want it to be a park, and I do want it to be a park. So we'll see what happens there. I'm also going to take this guy out because the zoning looks a little bit weird on it. So just reconnect. Oh, it's weird because of the power lines. Never mind. I'm a bit of an idiot. Yeah, I want this to be a park. It's a big space for a park, and it might not be a perfect square. I'm not necessarily thinking it's going to stay this exact size, but that'll be good. We can also take out these power lines because we don't need them anymore. So take all of those away. And then all of this space, I'm going to just fill with, well, I'm sort of going to fill with grids, but I think I'm also going to put some avenues through here. Some of these avenues I want to have, oh, do I want them to be 4-lane with sidewalks? I kind of like using the bigger sidewalks for the bus stops, so maybe not. We could do, let's just do sidewalks and grass for some of these. And we'll just push that one straight through there so we have a direct connection from the industry up to there. This one could go straight down as well. I don't hate that. And I think what we'll do is have one that goes like this as well. So we have a few ways around here. That might be a little bit much. That might be a little bit too much for the big avenues and the intersections, but I just want people to be able to move around and sort of do their thing. And I kind of like that. I'm also wondering, can I fix this? I absolutely can. Okay. That seems fine for a start. So, ooh, this is going to need, this is going to need some zoning as well. And I just realized this is a 5-lane asymmetrical. There was a 7-lane asymmetrical right here. So let me use that because that seems like a pretty good idea. That gives us technically 2 left turning lanes. And then up here, that just seems like a good idea, to be honest, going with the larger asymmetrical roads there. It gives us the zoning, which is what I was looking for as well. So all good on that front. And I guess what we'll do is just go ahead and start filling this space with different roads. So this guy's going to come down to, I'm going to turn off my guidelines. It's going to come down like this. This one can come down maybe straight through is the way to go on that. And this guy can maybe come over from about there. And that gives us some green space in the middle that we can play with. This could come down as well and still give us that green space. So I think we will do that. We'll use this as sort of like a park. And I'm okay with that. I actually kind of like that. These guys can continue straight over, and that gives us another sort of park space here if we want it. Or, you know, I could just put a road straight through there and not really worry about it. Which I'm not opposed to doing. I'm definitely not opposed to doing that, but I think what we'll do is this, and then we'll do like a park space in the middle there. So it's a little bit smaller than what we'll have on this side. These guys are going to be tricky, so I'll come back to some of those weird sections shortly. This one's going to be straightforward. It's just going to be, well, it actually can't connect there, so I don't love the idea of these intersections being so close to the main one, but we'll do it anyway. And what we'll do is just overlap some of the zoning in the middle. Oh, that's not what I wanted. We'll overlap some of the zoning in the middle, and maybe that's a park as well. Maybe we get some green space in there. Now for these guys, what I'm thinking is that maybe it makes sense to do this, and maybe it makes sense to do sort of the same on the other side. I'm kind of okay with that. Again, green space in there. That could be some parks. And then this bit's going to be a nightmare because this has a curve going on. So that there will be 440. That's 360. That's 480. So I want to go here. And I want to do... I'm gonna try a curve. I think is what I'm going to try and do. I think I'm going to try and just get a nice sort of curved road going around here. It doesn't play nicely. It really doesn't play nicely. I think what I actually need to do is have these guys come out a little bit, and then I want to try and curve it. So let's see if this works better. That absolutely does. It's not perfect. The zoning is a little bit weird, but I'm honestly okay with that. I don't mind it too much. The main thing I want to avoid though is having another giant park in here. So that's going to be something to try and get away from. So I'll do this. Yes, those are quite close together, but that's okay. And then for here, I don't want to come off of this avenue. I think I'm going to keep coming off of here. And actually, I'm not 100% sure what I want to do with this. We'll do this for now. Yes, it kind of messes with the zoning. Yes, it's not perfect, but it fills in the space. And the reason, like I said, I don't want a giant park in here because we're going to have some park space here. We have some park space down here, here, and here. And then the giant one here as well. So that can go away. In fact, maybe that can stay. I wonder, can I bring a road down here with that? Oh, I don't want to destroy those rocks. That's something I want to try and avoid. But it might be interesting to do this. Have a little bit of a built up area kind of just pushing into the park so that we don't have it as a perfect square. And then maybe this road can come down to here. So again, it's not quite a perfect square. And then maybe it just comes over here to give us a little bit less space for it, because I'm not going to be able to fill the entire thing. And I'm not against that. I'm not against doing that. And what I might also do is just go ahead and get one of these guys. The 4-lane road with wide sidewalks and trees. Run it up to there. And then the main entrance for the park could be right here. So if we go into the park section right down here, we can have a look at it. It's probably going to be a nature reserve. And if we look at the nature reserve main gate, it doesn't fit central. Oh, it doesn't fit central at the end of that road. None of them do, actually. That's great. Does the zoo main gate fit central? No. That's really frustrating. That is really frustrating. I think a zoo would actually be the best thing to build in here, though. So that's probably what we're going to go for. It just annoys me to no end that the main gate doesn't fit central. I guess we'll use 2 of the small main gates is what we'll do. So put one there. That gives us a bunch of stuff. Cherry Zoo Botanical Garden. That's fair enough. We can play around with all of that. And I guess we'll go ahead and paint we'll paint the park area, since I do need to put the other gate on there. And I probably want to start putting some fences around this. So it is just going to follow all of these guys. It's going to come down to here. It's going to go across this this road and back to there. And that's, I think actually having a zoo in here is probably the best thing I can do with the space. I think it makes a lot more sense than a nature reserve. So that's what we'll go for. And then in terms of districts, this is going to be a bit of a nightmare, but we'll go ahead and just paint in some squares. It's not going to be a nightmare. I don't know why I said it's going to be a nightmare. It's going to just be a lot of districts and a whole lot of Old Town policies, and then a whole lot of taking districts off of avenues. But I mean, I've been playing this game for how long? When did it come out? 2015? So 8 years? Whatever. I've been playing cities for a long time. A bunch of districts, not a problem. And there we go. We've got some districts. We have Laurel Park, Vermont Square, Franklin Park, Robin Park, Elk Hills, and I extended Daffodil Hills to cover this space as well. This is pretty good. Yes, it's a bunch of grids, I know, but it's pretty good. I'm quite happy with this. Before we get to building things though, I want to start taking some things away because I don't necessarily want these buildings with their backs facing into the zoo. So all of these guys are going to go away. It might actually not be a terrible idea to keep some buildings along here because this is a pretty busy road, which is going to be a little bit distressing to whatever animals are in here, but we will come back to that. What I'm also going to do is go ahead and get the side gate, and apparently I can't put it there. All right, so what we'll do is put it there instead. We'll move this one down by there, and then I'll move it back so we have a gap of 2 between those. They are identical, which is what I'm looking for. And so what we'll do is grab a little bit of fence to go between them right there, and that's our entrance. Yes, it's silly. Yes, it makes no sense, but it's what we're gonna have to do. So that's gonna be the main entrance to the zoo. I might honestly do some side entrances as well, though, since we have kind of got the space for it. We could do one. Well, we could do one up here if we wanted to. I don't know that I necessarily want to, but we could do it. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I kind of like the idea that it would just be... No, you know what? We will do one up here, and we'll surround it with parking lots is what we'll do. I know that doesn't sound very exciting, but we're going to do it, and we're going to surround it with parking lots, and it's going to be good. So let's, I guess, do the entrance. I feel like it should be at this intersection. I don't know if that actually makes sense, though. I guess I could do 2 of them again, just to sort of keep that that symmetry that we have going on. So we'll do this, and then I need to get some parking lots to kind of put on either side of this. And this opens straight into the ruins, which is maybe a little bit weird, so I don't know if this is actually a good idea, but I'm going to commit to it at this point. I'm going to commit to it, and we're going to see what happens. I also forgot we have this multi-story decorative parking lot, which looks... I mean, it looks like a multi-story decorative parking lot, but that might make more sense for the zoo than what I'm looking at doing here. I also need to take some of these plants away because that is it's a little bit much. And I think that's all right. I think we can get away with that. I think maybe 1 or 2 of these little ones here. So something like this and something like this. That is central. Good. Yeah, I think something like this will be good. We can go back to the zoo. We can go ahead and grab some fences, and I'm hoping I can do this where it goes around this. It doesn't look like it wants to, though, which is a little bit unfortunate, but I'm pretty sure I can make that work. If I go and turn off all of the guidelines, so 2, 3, and 4 on the numpad will give me absolutely all of those turned off, including angle snapping. What I can do is, I guess, try and get this as lined up as possible, which is going to be to about there, which seems pretty good. Can I turn on the road length for a second? Does that work nicely with me? It absolutely does. So right to there and right about there. So yes, it's going through the hedges, but that's okay. I'm not too worried about that. Similar story here. We actually want angle snapping turned on while I do this part. Or apparently we don't. I didn't actually turn it on. So angle snapping there, turn it back off, and then bring this guy right down. Did I go right to the road? I did. All right, so right down to the road there. Again, it's going through the hedges. I'm not really too worried about that. I think what we'll do is go ahead and just place another couple of the small parking lots. So one right there, And I'm hoping that I can put some taxi stands right on those corners, and I absolutely can. So a taxi stand right about there and right about there. It nicely fills up the space. Yes, it's just a bunch of parking, but there probably should be a whole bunch of parking right about here for the zoo. So it's not a great divider. It's, you know, it's not much of a sound barrier, but it gives us a bit of division between the zoo and the road. And that's kind of what I'm looking for. I can also line this entire space with trees, which I think will help in a pretty big way as well. And I'm also wondering, should I go ahead and place a couple of multi-story parking lots? Because they would fit in here really nicely. I think what we'll do is, do we have any nice little plazas that would fit in here? Can I get like a couple of these guys? I'm not too sure that I can. But if I could get some nice little, you know, nothing too crazy, nothing, you know what I'm going to say, nothing too crazy, nothing too fancy, but if I can get some nice little plazas that fit in here, something like this, the small food truck plaza, we could do the small ice cream stand plaza. We've got the small fountain plaza, which honestly, the fountain plazas might be the way to go. Now, these are from the Plazas and Promenades DLC, which is whatever. Would these be better? No, that's definitely not better. Oh, this would be good though. Putting this. Oh yeah, that's what we're doing. We're taking these guys out and we're putting the small glass roof plaza right in here. In fact, isn't there a bigger one of those? There is, but I haven't got it unlocked. Damn. Okay. Can I get this central? I absolutely can. Okay. So what we'll do is put this guy right here. And that's pretty cool. I like that a lot. We'll go ahead and surround it with some paths as well, because I think that's sort of the way to do things here. So we want to have grid snapping. We want to go from here, back to there, down to there, and down to there. And we'll do exactly the same thing on the other side. So take these guys out, go ahead and just build that again so I get it properly, like so. That actually doesn't... This is asymmetrical, isn't it? It actually has more room on that. Oh, no. Can I put trees in that weird little concrete space? I absolutely can. Okay. In that case, we'll take this one out. We'll take it back a little bit further. And we'll just put some trees on either side of this thing to hide the fact that this side has concrete and this side doesn't. But that's fine. That's a nice looking little thing going over there. And then either side of this, I'm going to do the multi-story parking lots. So right there, and if I wanted to, I can probably just go ahead and put in some of the small standard decorative ones right there. Yes, there's some hills going on. Yes, it's a little bit ugh looking, but I'm not really super concerned about that. And actually, what I could probably do is take out this road, take you out of there and take you out of there. We'll hit this with a bit of a flattening brush just to make it a little bit, you know, better for the parking lots. So something kind of like that. We'll take you out as well. We'll hit it with a nice big smoothing brush just to make things look the part. And then we'll come back in here with this guy going straight through. And we want to grab this guy coming straight out to, come on, give me the snapping point right about there. And I think that's better. That looks like it's going to be better. We'll put these guys in, we'll put this guy back in, and yeah, it's much better. It's not perfect. It's still not perfect, but that's okay. I like this. And I also like, hold on a minute. They have different styles. Oh, the wood paneling on the outside is kind of perfect. That is kind of perfect for what I'm looking for. All right. I kind of need another one. I need it to have the wood paneling, and it doesn't. Wait, can I change? Oh, I can change the style. That's really cool. All right. Well, that makes life a lot easier. Okay. So yeah, this is the main entrance to the zoo. All right. That's what this is going to be. So now we just have to put the fences around it and then put some attractions in there. We need to zone this entire area, which is going to take some time, but this is going to be good. This is going to be so good. All right, so I've gone ahead and built some paths around the outskirts of the zoo. I've also gone ahead and put the walls or the fences the entire way around the thing as well. And I'm also realizing this entire space happens to need pipes. So very quickly, before we get too carried away here and I forget to do it later on, let's just get some pipes in here so that everything is going to be where I need it to be and, you know, working the way it should be. So Pipes right to about there, right to about there. This is going to be a bit of a pain getting pipes along a curved road, but we'll figure that out in just a second, because for now I'll stick to the avenues. We'll go ahead and bring some pipes, I guess, down this avenue as well. And I suppose it's going to go down this road to about there. And then the same story with this road. We'll sort of just bring it around, stick it to the avenues, and bring one down through there. So that entire space is covered. This entire space could use a little bit of attention as well. Maybe just straight through the middle between those roads because it's a little bit easier. And then for this, it is just a case of connecting like so. It's going to be a case of connecting like so, and a case of connecting just like so. And that covers near enough everything. L kills still needs a little bit of love there, but we can totally manage that. We'll connect you there. We'll connect you there, and we'll just gradually bring this around. And now everything's covered. Now we shouldn't need to worry about any of it at all, including anything along there. So now they can stop complaining about not having enough water. They don't have enough power, which is fine. I just disconnected the entire thing, didn't I? Yes, I did. Let's just get you connected again to stop the complaints about sewage there. There we go. So everybody's all right. This is all, you know, got its walls, it's got its paths. And the reason I went with these paths is because I can just put the trees on the path. I can just swap out the trees that go alongside the path. And it just creates this nice little line. To be honest, I might change out the trees. I was looking at these ones originally, these generic pine trees. They're a little bit more uniform, but they are smaller, which is why I didn't want to go for them. Although admittedly, this map has a weird mix of... It has a weird mix of trees. You got some palm trees in here, you got some oak trees in here. I don't know if the pine trees make a lot of sense. I'm really not too sure. The umbrella trees are... They're kind of cool. They kind of match the vibe that's going on. Could go for this if we wanted some color. Could go for whatever this is. That looks... Oh, no, maybe not. I don't know. I'm actually not too sure. We could just go... I'm going to go palm trees. I think I'm going to go palm trees. They look... I don't know. They look the part for some reason. I don't know if this is necessarily the kind of environment that would have palm trees in here. But they look the part, and I'm kind of here for it. We'll experiment a little bit. We'll see what happens. We'll see if this ends up being a good idea or a bad idea. And I mean, if it's a bad idea, we can just replace them later on. It's not the end of the world. Although I do want to swap out these guys so they do not have trees on them. There we go. I like that a lot more. I do. I like that a whole lot more. So let's have a look and see what we have in terms of attractions. We have the Zoo Plaza, which I'm thinking we want to do one right about there. And I'm going to try and do what I've done elsewhere in the city. I'm going to go ahead and see if I can just place a couple of plazas right here. They are going to be at different heights, annoyingly, which is... Oh, no, that's actually not too bad. Yeah, we'll do a couple of plazas right there. So you come into the zoo, you have some space to sit down, look at things, you know, relax for a minute before you actually set off into the zoo itself. We have a cafe, which honestly would fit in there really nicely. We have a souvenir shop. We have restrooms. So let's do the little cafe in between these two buildings, since I think that's going to be a decent little spot for it. So right about there, and we'll do the same thing just up here as well. So a little cafe just between the two entrances right about there. It makes it look like it's, you know, one big facility rather than two separate entrances. And can I get another plaza in here without destroying too much? I think I can. So we'll do a plaza right about there. And honestly, that looks all right. Yes, it's raised up, but I don't mind that too much. I think, again, it just creates this nice little entranceway, which is what I'm looking for. And then for other attractions, I mean, we have a souvenir shop, which I think is a must-have for any zoo. So what we'll do is go ahead and get the souvenir shop. We'll do two of them. Well, two on this side. We'll do one there. In fact, we'll just do one, because I'll start taking out more of this stuff if I start building way too much around here. For this side of the zoo, we'll do two, though, because we have got the space to play with. So I actually can get the souvenir shop alongside the plaza, which I really like the idea of doing. So let's do there. And let's see if I can do the same thing on this side as well, which I think I can do. I think we can get away with there. I mean, it looks a little weird, but I'm kind of here for it. I'm kind of here for it. I like that. I also need to bring some pipes out here. So let's bring a pipe to about that spot, down to there. And I guess we'll just bring it around the entire zoo because it's probably going to need water as well. All right, so they have water. They still don't have power down here. That's okay. Not really super stressed about it. We are going to want some restrooms, but I want some attractions first. So we have the moose and the reindeer enclosure. We have the birdhouse, and we have the antelope enclosure. So the birdhouse, I feel like the birdhouse would be kind of cool nestled between some rocks. So I'm tempted to put the birdhouse kind of like here. I think this would be a neat spot for it. So the birdhouse can live right about there. It is going to need a connection, but that's all right. I'm not really too worried about that. What we can do is we can go and get this little section of path. And I kind of want to freeform this just a little bit. I don't want to get too crazy with it, but I think, I don't know, maybe coming off of here a little bit just to start with. And then we'll just sort of freeform this path so it goes, you know, maybe over this way a little bit and then back towards the birdhouse like so, and then right up to about there. And that does give it a connection, which is good. I am wondering though, can I build, I can't build there. I can build a path right in front of it. I feel like it should maybe have a path right in front of it, although maybe not quite like that. Let me just try and redo it ever so slightly. Let's see, is that going to be central if I do it about here? That is definitely better. That's definitely better. So we'll bring the freeform path back a little bit. We'll go ahead and put, ooh, how do I want to do this? Because I did kind of want this to connect in the middle. So I'll tell you what we'll do instead. We'll do a little section of path right here. And that's going to be what my freeform path connects to. And then from this spot, we'll turn off road length and go, let's say about $40 and $40. And that looks fine. I like that a lot. So let's go ahead and just freeform this path again. So we'll bring it over this way, and I guess we'll turn on guidelines. We'll get a nice little curve going down like this, and I'm okay with that. I like that. We can decorate around the birdhouse with some trees, make it look like it's planted into the scenery a little bit better, and I think this will be good. Now, while I'm doing this, I've just realized that I started this video talking about the fact that I don't want to have $3.5 million. The good news, I guess, is that I don't have $3.5 million anymore. I have $4 million. So my plan of burning through money really hasn't worked out. But I think this is good for the birdhouse. I'm not going to go over the top designing and decorating this thing just yet, because there's a lot more zoo that's going to need to be built. But that's a decent little start. I'll decorate around all of these paths a little bit more, a little bit later on as well, because at the moment there could be anything else built in there, and I really don't want to spend forever decorating a path only to basically just get rid of the decorations later on. So we'll leave this as it is for now, because I do want to deal with some zoning. I did mention way earlier on that was kind of the goal here, so let's go ahead and start looking at some zoning. Now, this space I think can be commercial. I think that's probably fine. And honestly, all of this space here is going to be commercial. And I'm pretty sure it's going to have the modern city center theme, which, now that I think about it, it might be better to swap these guys out for residential with the self-sufficient housing theme, because I think that might look better around the zoo. You've got these buildings with all its grass on it, and it's also going to be this really interesting, like, they're taller buildings. So I think that's what we're going to do. Have these really big, giant, tall buildings covered in grass and plants and all of that good stuff surrounding a zoo. It's a little bit depressing, really, if we're completely honest, but it's what we're going to do. As for Laurel Park, let's start looking at different themes here. So a big part of why I wanted to build this was obviously the demand for, I guess, office space. So we have the high school here. I'm thinking I might try and build a university in this space down here as well. Admittedly, that's an Institute of Creative Arts. That's a high school. That's also an elementary school. That is a high school there. Yeah, we could build a university down here. Not a campus necessarily, but like similar to what we've done here. We could build a university. So I'm thinking an IT cluster in here for Laurel Park is what we'll go for. And we'll also set this to be the modern city center. I I kind of want to look at shopping malls as well. I don't really know what that does, but we'll do modern city center for now, because my thinking is basically this right here, and I think this right here could be, yeah, I think that'll be fine for some commercial. I might do the same down here as well, and then the rest of this is going to be industry, well, offices. And that'll give us a nice big area for an IT cluster, which will look interesting next to all of this. As for Vermont Square, let's play around with shopping malls just because I don't know what they look like. And I'll build this space as a shopping mall. We can do, what way do I want to do this? We'll do this and this as a couple of little office spaces. And we'll do this as another shopping mall space. This will probably change because I'm not 100% sure what the shopping malls look like, but for now, we'll play around with it and see what happens. And then we'll come up to, I guess, Franklin Park and Robin Park. I kind of want these guys to be residential, to be honest. That's sort of the goal with these. So let's see what we can do. I think Vermont Square is going to need its shopping malls. So Franklin Park is going to be, I don't really know. I think we'll do Modern City Center again, since that is a pretty good theme for along avenues. And what we'll do is this and this. We'll go up to here as well. We'll go all the way along here. And then these intersections, like this bit can be commercial, but these guys won't be. And then maybe the same up here as well. It's a lot of commercial zoning. That's way too much commercial zoning. Yeah, that is way too much commercial zoning. Let's actually take that out. Let's just go with residential. I mean, we have demand for commercial at the moment, but it's too much. It is way too much. As for the residential zoning, I mean, I don't really know what to go for on it. I feel like it might be better doing wall to wall for these guys. We'll give that a shot and see what it looks like. It might look silly, it might not, but we'll find out is what we'll do. So this will be residential right here. This is all going to be residential as well. And I'm going to do this very specifically so that we don't have, you know, weird looking buildings and weirdly shaped buildings. So this right here, oh, that's going to cause some problems. That's definitely going to cause some problems. Let's do this so that we have some, you know, 3x3 buildings in there. And I guess what we can do is default style and then say that this place is going to have the wall-to-wall commercial buildings as well. That should make things pretty good. We'll do the same down here. And honestly, Robin Park, kind of the same story. We'll do all of that residential with the park through the middle. We'll do residential here as well. And that, I think, is a better spread. I like that a lot more. As for up here, maybe this should be a bit of commercial. In fact, maybe this should be some office zoning just to, you know, cut into some of that demand, and then maybe a little bit of commercial in here. So what we can do with that is go and say that this is going to be wall-to-wall everything, and that'll be kind of interesting. And so this is basically ready to go. This is a lot of zoning. It's going to take a long time to build, but if we run the simulation, we'll see things building over here. We're going to gradually see the power get connected to the zoo, which is fantastic news. And I'm hoping that this isn't going to be complete chaos for absolutely everything. But what I'm thinking I'm also going to need to do is go around and say that some of these junctions might just want to have some stop signs. This one is going to keep the traffic lights, but these guys are going to be stop signs. These guys are going to be stop signs. This is probably going to keep its traffic lights, actually. And this one is going to be some stop signs as well. And then over here, kind of a similar story. Basically, everything that feeds into an avenue is going to have a stop sign, because I don't think we have enough traffic just yet to warrant needing all of these traffic lights. And we have some Old Town policies. In fact, I don't know if we do have Old Town policies in all of this just yet. If we don't, we're about to, because it's going to do us a lot of favors having those policies. But looking at this, I think I've just about got everything set up the way I would want it to be. So let's go to each of these districts, look at policies, and we're going to say Old Town. We are going to say Old Town, Old Town, Old Town, and Old Town. I think this one as well is going to have an Old Town policy. So that way, no one will be using any of these side streets to get somewhere. They'll be sticking to the avenues, and that's kind of the goal. So I like this. I think this is good. It's going to be a nice boost to the population. It is going to be more income, which is whatever, but this is going to be good. It's just going to take some time to build. It's going to take a lot of time to build, and I'm okay with that. Oh, now this is really cool. We just got level 2 at the zoo. We have the insect, amphibian, and reptile house. We have the bison enclosure. We have that thing. Honestly, the insect, amphibian, and reptile house, if I can get it to fit, would look really cool right about here. It's going to be this grand building. It's going to look really interesting. I want to see if that's something I can do. Oh, that's going to look perfect. That's going to look perfect in there. Okay. Let me take out one of these plazas and let me cook a little bit here. Let's see if I can make this work a little bit. So I want to flatten this terrain. It is going to mess with some of the rocks at the back there, but I'm not too worried about that right now. What I'd like to do is I want to go and I want to get some path. So I want to grab you, and I don't know how well this is necessarily going to work, but we're going to find out together. Can I do this? I absolutely can. Okay. All right. I'm thinking I'm onto something here. We're going to do this. And then the insect, amphibian, and whatever house is going to go right about there. And that's kind of neat. It's a little off center. It could go to the right just a little smidge. Maybe just a tiny smidge more to the right there. That is, it's now too far to the right. Okay, well, let's go back. So it's going to go about, I want to say there. Is that central? That's, yeah, it's good enough. So that's actually really cool. That's really cool. Oh, the game's having some problems. I talked about this in Airport CEO yesterday, that I need to pull this computer apart. It's having some issues. I'm pretty sure it's the CPU, but it's all right. We'll, I'll live. It'll live for now. Can I do this? Is it gonna let me put, it's never gonna let me put two nodes right next to each other like that, is it? It's the city Skylines is never gonna let me do that. So I would want that node right there. Yeah, not a chance. Okay, take these guys out. Let's connect these like so. And then we'll put some plazas in the middle there, and that'll be just fine. So grab you and go for, I want to say right about, let's see, can I get this to look the way I want it to look? I can get it nicely kind of central there. And on this side, can I do exactly the same thing? I absolutely can. It does give us an awkward space in the middle that I don't love. And admittedly, it also makes this look off center. So I'm going to line this up to be central between the two plazas, even if it's not central on the road, which, I mean, it looks like it kind of is now. So that's all right. Is there anything else I can put in there? We could do some restrooms, which, I mean, it kind of blocks the view, actually, so I don't want to do that. I think what we'll do is just decorate this with some bushes and some plants and make it look like a little, I don't know, little design area. There we go. I actually really like how that's turned out. Yes, the tree is blocking the view a little bit, but honestly, I'm kind of okay with that. I like that a lot. As for this guy, it does look like people are coming over and visiting, which is fantastic. As for all of this space, it is slowly coming together, which is also fantastic. So I think what we need to do is we need to get some public transport in here. We also have a lot of traffic trying to come through here, and a lot of that's actually just garbage trucks. So that might actually not be the end of the world if that's all that's going on. So let's go ahead and figure out what public transport's going to do here. So I'm going to stick with buses, and I think what I'm going to do is use this stop as sort of the start for some good stuff here. We'll go ahead and stop in here, which I think is fair enough. We can sort of go, I think we can come back out and go up this avenue actually maybe not. Maybe it comes back down here. Maybe it comes down to here. It can go to there. It's going to go to, I want these relatively close together. The game does seem to like bus stops being really close together. I don't know that I want to put any on this road though. So I might honestly have it share that stop right there, and go to right there. That's maybe a lot. That's maybe a little too much, but I'm willing to give it a shot. It's going to be a nightmare on that road as well, but it should be fine. We'll just have this sort of loop back and do pretty much the exact same thing, just in reverse. So right to there and right to there. And if we go ahead and have a look at this, that's going to be lines 11 and 12, which are going to need to be orange, I guess, is the color we're going to go for on those. And for the buses on these, I'm not expecting them to be crazy busy. So we'll just go for, honestly, I don't know. I might go for a double decker, to be honest. I might do the double decker bus. It's a capacity of 65. I think it'll look interesting going around the zoo, and we don't have any double deckers just yet. So we'll do the double decker buses right there. And then for the rest of this space, what we'll do is go here. And we'll just sort of bring this up. I don't necessarily want buses stopping on this this road up here, so we'll bring it sort of down through here. We'll bring it across. We'll bring it down to about there. And we could bring it through the middle here. I'm actually going to skip the middle, and I'm just going to go around the outskirts of a lot of this district. I'm going to have to put some paths through there to make these buses a little more effective. Because if there's no paths, then some of these stops are going to be useless because people can't actually get to where they want to go. But just something like that around that space, I think is fine. And then maybe the red line's going to need extended through there, or we do a line that kind of goes back and forth from one side to the other. I think for now, this will be okay though. So let's have a little bit of a look at lines 13 and 14. Color-wise, kind of a burnt orange is what we'll go for on this. Very similar to the previous ones, but not quite identical. That looks fine by me. And I think the buses on there, I'm thinking we go back to the articulated biofuel buses. Well, actually, no. I like to be able to see the color of the buses. So let's just do the 80-person articulated bus for these guys, and that'll be just fine. So now what I have to do is I want to go around. I say I have to do. I want to go around and basically replace. That looks ridiculous. That is, it's really not what I was looking for. We'll keep that one, I guess, because it's going to be a bit weird. But where possible, I want to do this. I want to replace these roads. That one's that's a bit of a stretch, but we'll give it a shot. I want to replace these roads with the versions that have sidewalks because it's just better for the buses to pull into. So that looks ridiculous. That looks tolerable. I don't know about that. Maybe this entire road is just gonna have. Maybe that entire road can be like that. I don't know about that. I really don't. I'll bring you back a little bit, just like so. Let me bring you back a little bit, just like so. Maybe that entire section of road can be redone. Maybe that'll help it look a little bit less silly if I just run this straight through. And then we look at, oh God, what have I done here? This one's going to need to go there, I want to say. And this guy's doing what? Where are you going? Oh, where did that stop go? Where did it? Oh, I put it there. Okay. So something like that, I guess, will do the job. And then I have to replace some zoning, of course, because I got rid of, a little bit of that. I don't love how that looks, but it'll do the job. As for the rest of this space, I do think we have some buses here. So replace you, and that looks a little bit better. And I don't know where I put the rest of them. Oh, we've got one down here as well. Okay, so replace you, and do we have any more? We do. We've got that. Oh yeah, that one's that's the rough looking one. Can I do anything about that? I guess we can do that. I don't love it, but I think that's what we're going to do. I think some of these guys are going to just have some extended sidewalks, and that's just going to have to be the way of it. People aren't going to love not having their trees in front of their houses and buildings, but they're going to have to deal with it, and they're going to have to live with it. And so just like that, we have a bunch of buses coming out of the depot and going off to work, which is fantastic news. It is going to cause some problems for traffic, but I'm not super concerned about that because they'll filter through eventually. Now, I said I wanted to talk about industry today, and I was planning on getting to... Ooh, we might have a death wave going on. That's a little bit concerning. So how did you die? I think it might just be a death wave. I'm gonna be honest. I think we might be having what could be our first death wave. Anyway, I wanted to talk about industry, and I was gonna do some stuff with industry today, except this whole zoo business has taken way too long, so we'll do it in the next episode. But in the last episode, I asked you as to whether or not we should turn on the mod, the cheat, whatever you want to call it, which enables unlimited oil and ore. And most of you were in favor of that. Most of you were like, you know what? It's in the game. It's in the vanilla game. It's not a workshop thing. Go ahead, turn it on. It means you can do more industry. But now that we're making so much money, now that we're in a situation where, you know, $4.2 million plus 16,000 plus 22,000 up to plus 40,000 at some times, what I'm thinking we're going to do is use our farming industry and use our forestry and then use all of our unique factories, of which we will have more as we continue to expand. I'm going to use those to basically bankroll and float an oil industry and an ore industry. And that's going to continue until, and I guess beyond the point of which those resources run out, because they are finite. They will eventually run out. At which point we're going to have to import those things. But in theory, if we're making enough money from our exports, then we can afford to import oil and we can afford to import ore. There's also an interesting thing that I wasn't aware of until it was pointed out in the comments. This guy right here, the warehouse with rail connection. Basically, we can directly import things by train to that warehouse without needing a train depot, a cargo train depot somewhere else to have trucks pick it up and take it to a warehouse. So we can make something relatively efficient. Eventually, it is probably going to mean that I have to move my industries around a little bit more. We do have 1, 2, 3, 4 more tiles that we can get our hands on. So maybe forestry at some point is going to move out towards this lake, which honestly, I think that's a good spot for it. I think forestry down by this this lake would look amazing. And then the farming industry, I might move it across to here. I might move it across the valley or out to here, because I think having sort of a dedicated production district here for industry would be really interesting. So that's something we might have to do. We also seem to have some power problems here, but I think that's because these guys are just not connected to anything, which is fair enough. That's yeah. They'll survive. They'll be okay. I'm not really too worried about them right now. And so now I think it's fair to say that that's going to do us for today. I'm quite pleased with this little zoo. Yes, there's only 2 things in it right now, but it's coming along nicely. It just needs a bunch more visitors until it levels up again. And at that point, I mean, hopefully it'll make money eventually. I mean, we have some policies as well. I realize I'm about to wrap things up and I discover another thing. Zoo animals receive extra care and activities to keep them happy and entertained. It boosts the entertainment. It costs more. We can afford it. We're going to do that. Advertisement campaign will advertise through the city to have more visitors, 20% more, 200 per week. Sure. Main park. Mark the park as the main attraction in the city to make it more attractive to tourists. If they have several parks with this policy, they are equally attractive. This is a main park for sure. A fine for fireworks. The park area will not organize fireworks while the policy is active. I think we should do that. It's a zoo. We shouldn't be setting off fireworks at all. Celebrate. Fireworks show in the park every night. I'm going to say no. Night tours. Visitors can see the park at night on special tours. 30% more visitors during the night. I don't think we should do that either. It's a zoo. The animals need rest. Even more fun. Amusement park buildings are maintained. Doesn't matter. And recycle garbage. Yeah. Oh wait, that's just nature reserves. Never mind. So that seems fine. That seems like a good little set of policies there for a zoo. We're looking after the animals. I mean, here's the thing. It is a miserable place to have a zoo. Let's make no mistake. This is by no means the most ethical zoo in the world. It is going to be surrounded by high-rise buildings. There's no part of me that's looking at this and going, oh my God, the animals are going to be so well looked after. They're not. I mean, they are. We're going to do our best to look after them, but the real way to look after them would be, well, if they were wild, but, you know, beyond that, it would be a zoo, you know, not here, but like over here, right? Away from the city, way away from the city. But this is, it's a little conservation effort. It's like, hey, we have these animals. We're looking after them. We're raising awareness about it. Something like that. Right? It's we're doing our best. All right. It makes more sense. It makes more sense than a nature reserve. It makes even less sense for people to be camping in here than it does for animals to be in here. That's how I'm looking at it. Anyway, that is going to do us for today. There is one last little thing I'm going to do while I'm just doing this little outro here. I want to just replace these roads to have some trees on them because I think that looks a little bit better. I did it along here and it does look pretty good as well. So now that that's done, that is going to do us for today. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. It has been an absolute pleasure as always. And as always, I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.